Hello and welcome to Lesson Seller. In today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to use an access review in Azure Privileged Identity Management solution. So I've logged in as the Global Administrator to my Azure portal. I'm going to click on Azure AD Privileged Identity Management, and I'm going to go into Azure AD Roles. And in here, under Manage, you'll see Access Reviews. So click on Access Reviews. And in here, I'm going to create a new access review. So let's give it a name, Test Access Review. And you can put a description if you like. The start date is going to be today's date. I want to run it one time. And the end date, I'm just going to keep it for 1 day just because we're doing it for testing purposes. But if you're running this across your organization, you could select a couple of weeks. Or you can have a custom date range depending on your requirement. Okay, and so you could assign it to all of your users and user groups, or the second option is currently in preview stage where you can assign it to a service principal as well. So I'm just going to leave this setting as it is because later on I'm going to show you how an actual user who's a part of an access review is going to experience this. So let's leave that setting as it is. I'm just going to leave this setting as it is as well. And the role, so the role that I want to run this access review on, it is the authentication administrator. That's the one I've selected for this particular test scenario. So I've selected the role. Assignment type, I'm going to leave all active and eligible assignments. That's the default setting. Now in here you can set reviewers. You can, if you've got a hierarchy in your users with their positions and managers that they report to in your Azure AD, if all that information is populated and maintained there, you can go ahead and select manager as well. For this exercise, I'm just going to select members. So this means members who are eligible, either eligible or have an active role of authentication administrator will be a part of this access review. So let's select member self. Now, upon completion, this is an important step at the end of the access review period. This setting lets you decide what you want to do. Auto apply results to the resource. I'm just going to keep it disabled because I want to be able to see what's happened during the access review, what the users have selected, and given their feedback on whether they actually need this role or not. And this setting is going to let you decide what you can do in case that your reviewers do not respond. So I'm just going to show you the existing options that you have. You can remove access, approve access, which means if they already got access, they'll get to keep it. Remove obviously means they will no longer have access after the access review ends. And take recommendations means Azure or Microsoft will give you its recommendations, and then you can decide to accept it or not. So in this case, I'm just going to leave this setting to no change, and at the end of the review, I will put myself to receive a notification as well. Okay, so that's done, and I'm just going to start the access review. And let's give it a couple of seconds, and it should show up in here as an active access review. It's going to refresh my web page. There we go. So to begin with, it'll show you not started, and after a couple of minutes, it should move the status to active stage. Okay, so now it's initializing. Let's give it a couple of minutes. And meanwhile, I've got a user that I assigned eligibility for the authentication administrator role. Um, Let me just quickly go back and show you that. Um, and then what we'll do is we will log in as that actual user and see how it's gonna look like for the user to be a participant of an access review. So I'm just gonna show you what I've done. So I went into Azure AD roles in privileged identity management. Clicked on roles, and here you will see a list of roles. So I hope you remember we selected this review for the authentication administrator user role, or Azure AD role. So I'm just gonna select that role in here, and as you can see, this is what I did prior to setting up the access review, so I can show you from an end user's perspective. So I've assigned permanent eligibility for authentication administrator role for this particular user. Okay, now in this browser window, I've logged in as the user we're testing this scenario with. I'm just going to refresh the Outlook web page, and there you go. So the latest email that that users received is this. So this is how it's going to look like for a user who's a part of that access review and who's got eligibility to activate that particular role, or who've already got an active assignment. Um, it'll just send you an email saying, please review access to the authentication administrator role. So I'm just going to go ahead and click start review. Okay, just going to select my account, and in here you will see a little bit of information about what this access review is, and it will tell you who created the access review, what the role is that this access review is based on, and the dates that it's running for, start date and end date. Okay, so I've selected my user account, so I'm pretending to be running in this particular example, and I'm gonna say I'd like to have this role. You can give any reason. I'm just gonna type in this reason for this exercise and then click approve. Wonderful. So that's basically it from an end user's perspective. You're a member of an access review, and I'll quickly show you how it's going to look like once a user accepts or denies an access review, or once they've completed an access review, how it shows up for an administrator. So let's just go back to privilege identity management, Azure AD roles, and under manage, select access reviews. And this is the one that we just did. So I'm just going to click on that. And it'll give you a nice summary of what's happened. And you can click on results as well, which will give you the same, basically the same information that you saw in overview, but you can drill down in here as well and see audit logs. For this particular example, you're not going to see too much, but depending on several users, the usage of that particular user, you will see a number of useful audit logs in here as well. So that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you learned something new. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up And I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel. I'll be bringing weekly videos like this, and I'll catch you guys up in another one. Thanks for joining today. Take care. Bye bye.